Hey guys, today's video is going to be a continuation of my personal rig upgrade, where we're building inside a Fractal Torrent Nano. This case right here, or what's left of it. Rather than spending the whole video of showing how I designed the loop and cutting the tubes and made loads of mistakes and changed my mind, we've actually done that behind the scenes, and today we're just going to assemble it all together. There's a whole stack of little corners and knocks that we've had to put together, and I think it's going to be quite an interesting one. So, without further ado, let's get on with it. So we'll start with the main contraption, which is basically half of the build, which is the radiator with fans and pump res combo with fittings that cover half the case at the same time. Insane, but also kind of cool. And as you may see from this angle here, it actually doesn't quite fit. You have to kind of bend it inwards and squeeze it in. Goes in here, needs to be lifted and slotted in place. It's funny, it's so tight in there that I can actually just put it in and it kind of just holds there because there's no space for it to fall out or anything. Right, there we go. So my head was in the way. Right. It's interesting how the case a few seconds ago seemed like it's almost empty, and it's kind of full right now. It kind of is full. So I'm gonna pull these cables out and I'll deal with them probably straight actually. Okay, so yeah, it's much neater. Obviously it's not really hidden yet, but the cables go up and kind of behind there, which is nice. Now, I need to put the graphics card in. And it also has some cables that need to be managed. So I need to put this in such a way that it doesn't kink their cable. That's okay. All right. Nice. Graphics card in, screw it in fully. With the key components now in, next step is to do a quick cable management, because you don't want to mess around with that later when they've got water in the system. And then we're going to do a quick test and start building out the actual loop. So with the magic. So with the main cable management now in place, all the fans, all the RGBs now wired in, next step is actually to put it all together. And this is the beauty, because it's all been cut to size, we're just assembling it all. So I've had an oversight. This tube originally was supposed to go behind and across, but because of RAM being quite high, it can't just go across from behind, so kind of got stuck to do it this way. Not the best, but hey, do what you can. Right. And that one goes up top here. Let's make sure the fittings go in. Full loop in place, which features 2 radiators, a pump res combo, a ton of fittings. We even have a flow meter, and still some cable management to do. But other than that, the next step is to test it. And there's really 2 ways of testing it. We're going to go with probably the safest, or at least the one that shows up issues in the easiest way, which is using a pump and a pressure meter. You basically pump up the lines with air and see if the pressure stays. Let's give that a quick go. So for that, I need to lean this off the side a little bit. Because I've designed the system to have a drain port, we can use that to pump up the system with air and give it a little test. And what we want to do is pump it up with, I think I'm going to go with this one. You want to pump it up to about 34. And leave this for about 10 minutes to make sure that it doesn't actually drain. So it's been about 10 minutes and the pressure went down from 34 to 33, which is about right, and I can pretty comfortably say that it is a sealed loop. First we'll let this out. To keep things a bit more safe, it's best to have a separate power supply so you can flip the pump on, and just in case there's a leak, if the leak happens, it doesn't actually hit any of the electronics, so you can always just dry it out and try again in the future. To make things easier, we actually have this little tool that shorts a few pins on the power supply, and it just helps to keep it running while it's on. So all you need to do is just use the button at the back of the power supply to turn it on and off. Since we're using Bitspower loop, we're going to be using the liquid and some orange dye. I'll explain a bit later of why we used orange dye, but let's first fill up the loop. So it turned out to be really good looking, and we decided to keep the coolant clear. Let me know in the comments below if we should add a dye to it. Other than that, I'm really pleased with the results, and actually this case in particular. Yes, I had some issues fitting the overwhelming amount of components, but in the end the results are very satisfying. There are a few things I would do different though. This motherboard does not feature a thermal sensor header, so there's no way to control fan curves from water temperature. I may swap to a Commander Pro in the future. Or if anyone can recommend a USB based input, drop me a comment. Another thing is the use of extension cables. They look great and fit, but it took a little while to hide them all away. As far as performance goes, well, it seems to be pretty much silent right now. We have to see how it performs under some benchmarks, so make sure to subscribe as part 3 will have tests and optimizations. Other than that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.